If you're in the grocery store business and you are a grocery checker, I hate to say it, but your time is coming to an end. Hi, welcome to Canfield Company. I'm your host, Rob Canfield. This is the show where we talk about, well, things that I like to talk about. We have quite a few interesting topics today. Topic number one today is a potential grocery store strike in the Pacific Northwest. According to the Oregon Labor Press, at the latest August 29th bargaining session, which was a week or so ago, Local 555, Food and Commercial Workers Local 555 announced that its members approved strike authorization by 94%. That is 94% of their members authorized the union to go on strike should the union and the grocery stores fail to come into a solution. Apparently the sides, according to the Labor Press article, the sides are pretty far apart. And Local 555 president said on August 30th that there's a high likelihood, and quote, he said, we will see an economic action taken against stores in the near future. Now, if I read this right, economic action taken against stores means they're going to go on strike. I don't know, see what other kind of economic action they would take. Local 555 also says in the Labor Press article that the latest employer offer does too little to address a serious gender gap in wages. Now, apparently, according to the Labor Press article, earlier this year, the union dug into data provided by Fred Meyer and found that male journeyman grocery workers out-earn women by an average of $1.31 an hour. That's pretty interesting, actually. The disparity, they said, comes chiefly from the fact that managers are assigning women applicants twice as often as men to job in the lower end pay scale. For instance, bakery and deli. They found, according to them, that a wage scale gap in union contracts dates back as far as 1937. But of course, back then, it was legal to pay women less than men. Now, the union is saying they're not accusing anybody of conscious discrimination, but now it's been brought to the company's attention and they're saying it's a problem. Now, the other side of this strike, of course, are the grocery companies. There are two big grocery companies that are involved here. Kroger, which owns Fred Meyer, QFC in the Northwest and Ralston, California, and Albertsons, which owns Safeway, Albertsons, and about 18 other chains. And according to United Food and Commercial Workers, they're saying the company is offering nickels and dimes, and the union is asking for dollars. Now, I talked about this potential strike in my last show, and then as in now, I sincerely hope that both sides can come to a mutual agreement on their wages and conditions. It would be a tragedy on a financial basis for the workers who do go out on strike. As I mentioned in my previous show, when you go out on strike, if you go out for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're not getting paid, that's opportunity money you will never, ever, ever get back. Now, on one of the newspapers that I read online. I can't remember which one. One of the comments was a female grocery store worker. She was anonymous in the comments, and she said she had been stuck at $13.91 per hour for, for 13 years. And and many other people have been complaining about the great number of self-service terminals that are now in many grocery stores. This is a way that the grocery stores don't have to pay a checker to use the grocery checkout. And you've seen these in Fred Meyer, Safeway, Albertsons. All of them are putting in the self-service checkout. And the woman who made this comment about her wages being stuck, she complained that it would be unfair to do away with their jobs. It's just unfair. I have to say, though, everybody can see this. Everybody can see this coming. I think, especially in Oregon, the pressure on the already thin profit margins of grocery stores is really high. And I don't blame the grocery stores for putting in these self-service checkouts at their grocery store. And I have to be honest, this is modern technology changing the way we shop for groceries. One thing that has really hit me as this change in technology at grocery store service terminals and doing away with grocery checkers is this is just what happens when technology comes about and wages increase. I don't know what folks thought would happen as the minimum wage increased. Of course, the grocery stores, who are historically have razor thin profit margins, have to find a way to make money and have a small profit so they can keep going. But let's face it, folks, even with grocery store self-service terminals, times change. Okay, things are going to change. You have to not get stuck in the past. You know, every single job I've had pretty much needed eventually by technology. For instance, back when I was a kid, junior high school, I had a paper route. That's right, from the time I was about 12 years old, I had a paper route through high school. There was many of us kids who delivered papers, and we actually did collections. We went door to door collecting for the bills also. Today, how many carriers are there? Newspaper carriers. You have some motor routes, people go on their cars, but come on, most news now is fed online. Very few people subscribe to a regular newspaper, a paper newspaper anymore. So my very first job, paperboy, no longer exists. Again, my second job that I ever had was a long-distance operator with Ma Bell, Pacific Northwest Bell. We did things like person-to-person calls, collect calls, all sorts of different calls. We even collected money from payphones. That's right. But again, new technology came along. Things like internet voice response, the internet, and mobile phones made operators like I used to have obsolete. So my second job was eliminated by technology. Then at the phone company, when I went over to the AT&T side after the phone company breakup, I was an AT&T account manager, and I used to sell long distance packages. Back in the day, folks, it cost a lot of money, 28 to 38 to 40 cents a minute if you were calling long distance. I sold those long distance prices to businesses. I sold 800 numbers, 1-800 call collect. I sold T1s, which are high capacity lines for outrageous money. And now internet made long distance calling virtually free. You don't see all these commercial markets, AT&T sales managers like I was selling long distance. So basically my third job was eliminated by technology. Once upon a time also, I had one of those brick cell phones. How many of you had a brick cell phone? And I could plug in my brick phone to a laptop, a very crude laptop, and using file transfer protocol, this is before browsers, I could upload files. It took forever and it was very clunky. But now, I don't have to use a laptop and a brick phone. I can upload and download everything on this tiny device. This Android phone fits in my pocket. It uploads and downloads files at a zillion megabytes per second. I mean, exaggerated, but imagine 300 baud versus multi-megabytes per second on this phone. Again, technology made my life easier. Again, technology, when we bought our first PC, it had a slow modem. Dial-up, remember that tone used to get doon-de-doon-de-doon? That's right. Now we have the blazing internet and the wonders of the World Wide Web. Technology changed everything. Do you remember back in the day when VCRs first came out? You had these giant cassettes you'd put into your VCR, and if you wanted to buy new movies, okay, you had to pay big bucks to some place like Blockbuster and rent a video, and then go to a physical location and rent a video for your VCR. Again, technology changed. Blockbuster is goodbye because of technology, because of things like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. Now I can watch any movies I want, anywhere I want, on my device, and I don't get charged late fees, and I don't get charged rewinding fees. Again, technology eliminated Blockbuster. Again, technology eliminated a job. Here's another way that technology has really changed the world. Back in the day, before the internet, if I wanted to find a shop for clothes, games, movies, etc., you know, I used to buy things from like Land's End, Eddie Bauer, you phone them up, and you'd make your order for stuff. And sometimes it took several days for my order to be shipped. Now I don't have to wait for several days. I don't have to phone anybody to place the order. All I have to do is go on Amazon, and I get what I want, and usually it's on my front porch the next day. So again, technology has eliminated a lot of mail order people because Amazon has taken over. But folks, if you're in the grocery store business and you are a grocery checker, I hate to say it, but your time is coming to an end. Times change, okay? But you have to keep in mind that when personal computers became affordable, then the new jobs created by the new IT industry created millions more jobs than there were paper boys, long-distance operators, long-distance account reps, etc., etc., etc. And I'm sure it won't be long before grocery stores will have a scanner that if you, a physical store, you take your grocery store, you can take it to the checkout scanner, and I'm sure sometime in the short future, they will have a scanner that will scan your entire grocery cart at once, instead of having to scan each one. It will happen. This will happen. Grocery checkers will go away. Grocery checkers will become obsolete. I'm sorry to say it, folks. This is reality. Grocery store checkers will eventually become obsolete, and it's sad but true. Unfortunately, this is what technology does. It's a disruptor. New technology is a disruptor. But in review, just about every job that I've had has been eliminated by technology. And again, unfortunately, it's going to happen with grocery checkers. Sad to say, this is going to happen. Sad but true. Well, that's it for this first topic on Canfield Company. We'll be right back after this with another story on Canfield Company. Topic 2 today. We're going to talk about the Multnomah County Commissioners here in Oregon and an impact on jails due to budget cuts. According to an article on OregonLive.com, the Multnomah County Commissioners recently said there are going to be about big impacts on the $7.7 million budget that is going to hit law enforcement, jails, and probation. They're blaming this on cuts implemented by Oregon's legislative budget, which was voted on, I guess, last week. And this is going to lead to, according to this Oregonian article, lead to shutting down 73 out of the county's already low number of jail beds, and the elimination, they're going to lay off over 24 positions. Now, according to the article, the changes are the results of cuts in budgeting by the county. And the county board said they adopted their own budget, expecting the corrections funds to grow by $2.3 million. Instead, the state cut the county share of the funds by $5.4 million. Now, the sheriff, Multnomah County Sheriff, has warned the county commission that cutting 73 beds is basically a 6% reduction, and it's going to be basically letting people out, letting bad guys out. Earlier last week, I was talking to a merchant in Troutdale, and he complained about the poor condition of roads, degrading roads. So he called his county commissioner and asked, what's the deal? Why can't we have roads fixed? And the county commissioner, Lori Stegman, told him, well, we spent all this money on homeless people, we just don't have enough money to fix the roads too. What's actually needed from Multnomah County is leadership from Chair Kafori. She's the chair of the Multnomah County Commission. All we need is more leadership from her. All the county commissioner have are excuses why they can't keep people in jail, why they can't fix the roads. Instead, they're twiddling their thumbs with politically correct things like implicit bias training and that sort of thing. And there has to be another way. There has to be another way to solve this. Public safety is job number one. We need resources like the city of Gresham does to go out and talk to the folks who are homeless, find out what it is they need, clean up the homeless camps, and get help for those in need. You're not finding that happening in the city of Portland. If you'll just do some research online, you'll see what the city of Gresham is doing regarding helping the homeless folks, which is a lot, getting them off the streets, getting them into medical care, getting them to rehab, and getting them off the streets, getting them help, getting them temporary housing. Compare that with what's going on in the city of Portland, just right on the border there. So if you're more interested in that, it's true. Check out what Gresham is doing, check out what Portland is doing. It's all online. Just Google it. Oh, that's it for this short story. We'll be back with another segment on Canfield Company right after this. Hi, welcome back to Canfield Company. I'm your host, Rob Canfield. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that I'm really interested in, and that is safe drivers. Have you noticed that drivers are less and less cautious these days, take more and more chances, text and drive more, all that sort of stuff? According to an analysis published this week, a 7-year analysis said Gresham drivers tallied the 13th worst driving record of any city in the county, and I'm going to quote some of this article again. It said, quote, some 28.9 of Gresham drivers had a documented infraction between 2012 and today. And the company said those prior driving incidents fall into 19 different categories and include at-fault crashes, speeding tickets, driving while under the influence, reckless driving, and other so-called moving violations. Now you're asking yourself, where did they get this data from? Insurify, the company said it based its data on driving records obtained through its databases of more than 1.6 million insurance accidents. And when you apply for insurance, you must disclose past violations during a 7-year period, or you are denied coverage. So they Insurify compared drivers with spotty records against the total number of drivers in each city to calculate the rate. Now, how about Portland? How do you think Portland did? According to the company, Insurify, they said Portland came in second in Oregon with 27.9% of its drivers having a moving violation between 2012 and this year. And according to this company's study, 7 of the top worst driving cities are towns with populations of 100,000 or less. Is it really any news to anyone of you who drives in Portland, Gresham, or anywhere in Oregon? It seems like Oregon is ground zero for lousy drivers, drivers who don't pay attention, drivers who text while driving, drivers who tailgate, or drivers who just don't pay attention. It seems like if you're out there driving, you are a target for these incredibly poor drivers who have all these moving violations, repeat violations, texting while driving. So, how many moving violations have you had in the past 5 years? Do you consider yourself a good driver? I don't know. But I thought I'd bring this up because it's a favorite topic of mine. I am deeply focused on and a fan of defensive driving. I don't want to get in any accidents. I don't want to hurt anybody, so I'm always extremely careful while on the road. You will not see me texting while driving. You will not see me tailgating folks. That's right, you will not see me tailgating folks. And I will actually have in a future show have a little mini seminar on the proper way to drive. Well, that's it for this topic on Canfield Company. We'll be right back after this with another topic on today's show. Well, that's it for this episode of Canfield Company. If you'd like to comment on the show or you'd like to be on the show, just shoot me an email, rcanfield@robertcanfield.com. That's rcanfield@robertcanfield.com. If you'd like to see previous shows, you can reach them at our website, which is conveniently enough, robertcanfield.com. That's our website.